Hey everyone, it's Mike. Before we start the episode, I have a cool question to ask. Do you own a brewery? Do your customers love trivia as much as I do? Well, then you better listen up. Because Geeks Who Drink weekly trivia nights are the cornerstone of event programming for over 650 breweries and bars nationwide. Geeks Who Drink Trivia is consistently fun and low-effort way to build a community of regulars because we all need our norms, cliffs, and all that, but we want to bring more people in as well. So you can even turn that slow weeknight into the busiest night of the week. So get started with this exclusive offer for my Taproom listeners and get your first quiz night free. Go to geekswhodrink.com/taproom and enter promo code TAPROOM. That's geekswhodrink.com/taproom, promo code TAPROOM. And now, on to the episode. Oh yeah, and we're back. This is episode 72 of the Taproom Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike. Oh man, what a week. Well, honestly, it's just been like, what a month. I mean, the entire month of June has just been so busy and so crazy. So I'm looking forward to taking a little bit of time. But you know me, I keep saying I'm going to take some time. But I've been talking to Tommy, and then I've also been talking with the Sorry We're Drunk podcast, the girls over there. So I'm going to record with them, I think, at Noble one day next month. So that'll be an August episode. But yeah, I mean, just like, you know, if I get the chance to do it. And then I've also been talking to Dario. So shout out to Dario at Burning Daylight Brewing. And honestly, shout out to Danny for setting that whole thing up. So that should be happening sometime. I believe we're going to do that first week of August. So that should be pretty good. But yeah, it's been a really busy month. Fun month though. You know, Luke Holmes, you know, recording with Danny, you know, swimming, cooking, doing all that good shit. So it's been a really good time. This episode though, episode 72, is with Nick Rotruck. Oh, what a good dude, Mr. Brew Dude WV, Brew Dude, West Virginia. He's a homebrewer. We got to talk all about that. We also talked a little college football, some funny hangovers or drunk stories, actually. It was a really good time. We had a fun conversation. We talked about, you know, his craft beer journey and homebrewing and stuff like that. And like, you know, and obviously the craft beer scene out near him. So yeah, it was a really fun one. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Next week will be the Beer Belly episode, the Beer Belly podcast episode. So I got to have John and AJ on, such great dudes. Make sure you check out their latest episode they talked about when we were at Noble. So yeah, you can check out their episode in preparation for next week. So it'll be good. They're hilarious, man. Like they are just such good dudes. And I want to say we talked for like about almost 2 hours. It was a really fun time. And you know, if you get a chance to get down to Noble, definitely do it. All right. So headlines: some of the NBA draft, the NHL draft. I am not going to lie to you. I didn't watch the NBA draft. I caught bits and pieces of the NHL draft. But I was like, yeah, I mean, my Bulls are just so bad right now. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm excited. I saw the Lakers drafted Bronny. Yeah, I don't know well, I mean, I know why they did it, obviously, to keep LeBron, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But we'll see. Football is getting closer. Oh, and congrats to the Florida Panthers. They pulled it out. Had to go 7 games, but they did it. So congrats on the Stanley Cup. What else we got? Oh, actually on Tuesday, it's either going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, trying to figure out a day, but I'm going to be with John and Abraham for sure from La Bodega and Whittier Brewing, and maybe Nathan from Angry Horse, and maybe Adrian or Augustine from Brujeria in Pico. Because they did a collab. They did a collab for they did a red ale. So they want to do a little something. For sure it's going to be those two, or I mean, it's going to be John and Abraham, but we'll be talking about that collab and how, you know, special it was for all 4 of those breweries, obviously being in Montebello, Pico Rivera, and Whittier, all down Whittier Boulevard. So it'll be a fun one. I'm excited to do that. Do like a little, we're going to do like 15, 20 minutes talking about it. So that'll be on an episode soon. It'll probably be at the end of next week's episode, so that should be a fun one. What else we got? Let's see. Oh, 4th of July is coming up. 4th of July is next Thursday, so I'm excited for that. It's going to be a warm one. I'm going to be cooking on the flat top. I'm going to be making some smash burgers, going to be making some bacon wrap hot dogs. Got to have dogs and burgers on the 4th, am I right? I am kind of curious, though, because I'm going to do a poll this week of what everyone's going to be cooking on the 4th, so that should be fun. I'm excited for some fireworks, excited for some booze, and plus I'm off on Friday, so fuck yeah. Kudos to me. Sorry, everybody that has to go back to work on Friday. I'm off, but then it's my sister's birthday on next Saturday, so I'm excited to get up there to see her. It's going to be hotter than fuck, though, going up to Larry. And it's supposed to be like 111 fucking degrees. Like, holy shitballs, Batman. That's going to be crazy. But yeah, so that'll be a good time. She has a pool, thankfully. I think we're going to have barbecue. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be a busy week. Should be a fun one, though. I'm excited. Only got to work 3 days. Like, what's better than that? But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna shut up now. We're going to jump into the interview. Oh, sorry. Let me say this. Oh, right after the interview with Nick, I did put the clips from the Independent Beer Fest, LA Independent Beer Fest, presented by the LA Brewers Guild, clips at the end. I'm only in it for maybe a little bit because, I wanted to have Art on there. I wanted to have Chew. Even a Craft Beer Girl 93 is on there, her friend that was there. And I believe the guy's name was Ants. I'm sorry if I forgot. But yeah, so I put that on there. I want to say it's like maybe 8-9 minutes worth of content at the end. But it was a fun one. We had a good time. I was fucking hammered. In the last clip, you'll hear it when we do our sign off. I think we talk about our favorite brewery, and I was pretty shit faced. So yeah, enjoy. All right, well, we're gonna jump into the interview with Nick. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'm a dumbass. I forgot that I did the Geeks Who Drink question of the week, and I forgot to. Probably should have had that pulled up. Way to go, Mike. I am getting it up now. Apologies, I forgot to, because I did it a little late. It's been so busy at work, so sorry. I knew we were jumping into the interview. Question this week, though, from the Geeks Who Drink was, what year was Sierra Nevada founded? The options were 1979, 1982, 1990, and 1987. This one, man, it was a lot of people were off. It was the correct answer was 1979, but yeah, I would say about 75% of the answers were wrong. So yeah, that one didn't go so well, but the next one was a little bit better. About almost half the answers were right. The next one was, what year was the Game Boy released in the United States? 1988, 1989, or 1990? And the answer was 1989. So almost half, like 40% got it right. So I always like doing these. And if you guys ever have suggestions, honestly, for the Geeks Who Drink, like for a trivia, like one of the bonus questions, just DM me and I'll throw it out there and I'll shout you out on the show. All right, so that is it. Now we're going into the interview. Apologies. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I'm your host, Mike. I have an Instagram Spotlight episode today, and my guest is Nick Rotruck, also known as Brew Dude WV for West Virginia. How's it going today, man?
I'm good, Mike, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for coming on and taking the time out of your day to talk a little craft beer with me.
Absolutely. Been looking forward to it. It's always fun to shoot the breeze about craft beer and have a good time.
Oh, for sure. So we have a couple beers here, and I appreciate you sending me a couple of your beers. I have the Country Roads Trust Lager from Big Timber Brewing Company. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Big Timber is probably the biggest West Virginia brewery. They're really the ones that get their marketing out the most, and their name's really out there. So they're kind of the driving force between craft beer and distribution in the rest of the state. So what they did actually was partnered with West Virginia University for the Country Roads Trust Lager, which is portions of that go towards the NIL proceeds to West Virginia Athletics. So anytime you buy or drink one of those, you're kind of helping out the squad there and helping get some wins on the board.
That's awesome. Well, what are you drinking today?
I got New Trail Campsite Hazy Double IPA, collaboration with Warwick Farms. They're up in the Pennsylvania area.
Awesome. What's the ABV on that one?
Let's see. We got 8.8%. Made with Nelson hops and a couple New Zealand hops.
Oh, there you go. You got a double.
Yeah.
All right. So it's cracking. Got a little foam action over here. I love it. I love the head on that.
Yeah. Some of those lagers get a little foamy.
Oh, yeah. It's good stuff, though. All right. Cheers, man.
All right. Cheers, bro.
That's good stuff. Well, man, yeah, tell us how you got into craft beer and how it all started for you.
My craft beer started probably, I'd say 2015 or so. I got out of grad school in 2014. And at that point, it was still a lot of domestic beers, Bud Light, Miller Lite, your basic stuff you were drinking when you were living off college budget. And I remember my first craft beer I ever tried was Oscar Blues Pale Ale.
Oh, okay.
Dale's Pale Ale, I guess was the name of it. And I had a friend that I was in grad school with, absolutely loved IPAs, craft beer. And I had it and I was like, what is this shit? I took a drink of it. And I never had anything worse than that. So yeah, I remember that being my very first experience. And then about a year or two later, I kind of came into my own, got into that beer scene. And I think with a lot of people, Sierra Nevada Pale Ales were the one that really kind of sealed that and helped me make that transition.
That's awesome. And you also homebrew as well, don't you?
Do. Yeah. I started that probably about 4 or 5 years ago. My wife, when we were still dating, actually got me a 1-gallon homebrew kit off a Northern Brewer. So we made a couple little 1-gallon batches of wheat beers, tried to make a shandy. Some went okay, some didn't. So after we got married and moved, I kind of ramped things up a little bit and bought a bigger system. And I do 5-gallon batches now and I keg, and ended up building a 8-tap kegerator out of a chest freezer, and
awesome.
Trying to keep that filled on my off times. And yeah, it's been a good time. It's a nice little hobby. Expensive, frustrating, but I think it's worth the effort.
Oh, definitely. Do you remember the first beer you brewed?
It was a wheat beer, and looking back on it, it was awful. But after you brew it, it's the best thing you ever tasted because you made it on your own. But there's a couple other things that were different about those first couple batches. Everything was pretty much what they call an extract brew. So everything was already pre-made. So you're basically boiling it, throwing in hops and letting it go from there. Since I've upgraded, I've went into all grains. So I'm crushing my own grains and kegging and learning about oxygenation and all that good stuff. So that wheat beer was the bomb in the beginning, but if I went back and had it now, I'd probably frown upon myself a little bit.
Oh, no worries. I mean, what are some of your favorite styles to brew and drink for that matter?
I think I'll always be a hophead. IPAs are always my go-to. But at the same time, also, especially the last year or so, I've really started to appreciate lagers, pilsners, the simplicity of them, but also how difficult they are to really nail those. And I think I've heard you say it on here several times before. If you can go in somewhere and have a solid pils or a solid lager, there's a good chance the rest of that beer is going to be great. So for the most part, I'm an IPA lager guy, but I can drink stouts. I can drink porters, pretty much anything outside of Hefeweizen, Belgian styles. I'm not big on those flavor outputs, that clove kind of feeling. It's not my jam, but I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, same. I mean, I can't really a lot of people love Belgians, but for me, man, I'm with you. I can drink maybe one every once in a while, but I can't do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the esters that it throws off, but it's been one of those beers that I've just never gotten accustomed to. There's a little brew pub here, probably about 20 minutes from me, that they have an obsession with Golden Monkey from Victory.
Okay.
And, it's like a 9.5 Belgian style, and people absolutely love it. And I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But to each their own, I'm not going to shit on anyone for their beer habits. Everyone has their own palates, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, and everybody likes their thing. It's even like that barrel aged stuff. Every once in a while, I'll have a barrel aged, stout, but I share that. I can't drink a whole one. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love barrel aged stuff. I have a nice appreciation for it, but I'm the same way. If I do it, it's got to be, in a little flight glass or something that I'm sharing with a couple buddies, because it's just too much for me.
Oh yeah.
I can slam down 4 or 5 ounces of it, but if you get into a 12 or 16 ounce can or a bottle, that's overkill.
Oh yeah. And I feel like even as a kid, I would bust out the Samuel Smith, oatmeal stout or the Young's double chocolate stout from, way back when, but that I'd be able to have one. If I had a second or third one, I'm like, it starts to come back up a little bit there.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And it's even one of those things where in the beginning, I didn't like stouts either, but the more that I really got adjusted to, drinking coffee in the mornings before work or on the way to work, things like that taste kind of came along with it. And I was able to start picking up on those notes a little bit better, because sometimes stouts are are hard to get those, the taste that they throw in there, the chocolates and the peanut butters and,
Yeah.
that initial grain bill is, I guess, hard to get some of those flavors to pop through. So the more I drink them, the more I appreciate them. But those barrel aged ones, they can still knock me on my ass if I have too much. So I try to take it easy when they're around.
Oh, for sure. With homebrewing, do you remember like the most recent one you did or recent style you did?
Our most recent one was a strawberry ale. So
oh, nice.
It's basically it's like a light ale. It came out about 5.2%. I think I'd have to go back and look at the actual numbers. It was supposed to be around 4.8, but we got a little bit higher than that. But we try to keep a fruited ale on tap all the time. So our very first one was a raspberry, and we finally kicked that. And our town has a local strawberry festival that was actually this past weekend. So we thought, why not try to brew, something to celebrate that festival a little bit. So we went the strawberry route, and I think we got a blueberry planned next. So it was a fun little project.
Oh, that's cool. And like when you first started homebrewing, what was like the most difficult thing or like the most challenging thing you had to kind of, get or go through to be able to brew something you really wanted to make?
I think my biggest issue was like my paranoia about the whole process.
Oh, okay.
Because whenever I'm learning and everything, I'm going through and I watch a lot of YouTube and I have some books and stuff that I've referenced and, podcasts and things like that. And what you hear a lot about, what you can do wrong or what you can do better and not so much regarding the process. So, I was super in tune to all of your timing. You got to have your mash in for so long, and then you got to add in these hops at a certain amount of time. And I think that was the biggest thing, was trying to not get inside my head too much and just having fun with the whole process.
And that's awesome, man. I mean, and the good thing is you clearly didn't give up and you kept on going, and now you've been doing it for, you said 4 or 5 years. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And it's definitely become a hobby that's turned into a passion. Craft beer has really become one of those things where I enjoy it. It's kind of like, as bad as it sounds, it's my release from things. You get from a day from work, and stress of the day builds up, and you just want to come home, relax, and pop a beer or two. And that's really kind of been my outlet between trying all these different craft beers and brewing whenever I have time to do it. It's really been fun. It helps you appreciate the hobby a little bit more, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then if you have some local places you can go to and, be able to just, like you said, distract your mind for a little bit from whatever's going on in your life and just be able to enjoy that and like not have to worry about everything for a few minutes,
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is, finding a couple buddies that you have stuff in common with. I have a couple friends and their wives. We all get together, I'd say about once a month, and do a big beer share at the house, and, just kind of shoot the shit, have some beers and have a good time. And then we also travel a little bit, go to some breweries and stuff that we haven't been to, and try to explore it the best that we can. We're kind of in an area where there's not a lot locally. So to really make a trip to go somewhere, we really had to plan it in advance. So we kind of make the most of it. And this whole Instagram thing has kind of helped. I've really gotten into the beer trade scene, and that's kind of helped my outreach in terms of my craft beer experience and getting a lot of things that I don't have access to here. And that's mainly because West Virginia has really strict beer laws. They don't like a lot of different things coming in. They don't like a lot of things going out. So it's really made things tough for beer shops and stuff like that to get stuff.
I bet. And I wanted to ask you too about like the Instagram, because obviously we've been following each other for a while now, but when it comes to like, when did you decide like, I want to start a craft beer Instagram?
I want to say I started in September of 23, and it's something I kicked the idea around about. I just thought it would be fun to document those journeys and things like that, but it was something so off key for me. And you could even ask my wife, I'm, in reality, I'm a very introverted person. So social media, I hate it. I despise it. And I hate the drama that goes with it, all that good stuff. But, it goes back to that being that release, being able to share those journeys. And I've really come across a lot of great people through that Instagram community that have really helped with that. And I've met a lot of good people and made some good connections, and that's kind of driven me through it. There's times where it gets a little overwhelming, but for the most part, after the first month or two, it really caught fire, and that was never the intention, but I rolled with it, and, it's really worked out for me, and it's been a good time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and you meet, like, that's one thing I love about, the craft beer community. Everyone is always super supportive, and you don't have to, you just be yourself. You don't have to worry about pretending to be somebody else,
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And, most people have been great. I've come across a few sour apples, but you're going to have that everywhere. And social media is going to bring that out in people regardless. So I've just kind of embraced it a little bit and, enjoyed the time that I've had with meeting people, and hopefully it keeps going and growing and, have more opportunities like you and I are having now and meet more people, drink more beers. And, what's better than that?
Oh, of course. I mean, and that's why like you can get out there and you can do all that sort of stuff and meet new people and just enjoy one another's company, over a couple of beers like we're doing now, like you said. And that's the best part about this for me, like being able to do something like this.
And it seems like you really enjoy it. That's why when I found your podcast, I really enjoyed it. And you can tell, when you're interviewing people, you can hear the passion when you're talking to brewers and other Instagrammers, and, your noble segments are kind of getting more advanced every episode. And it really seems like you're kicking it off with those guys and having a good time when you get together. So, and that's stuff I love to see, just because, it's good to see people be able to unwind like that and have a good time and, enjoy the fun parts of life.
Oh yeah, and that's the best. And I did want to, because you mentioned Noble, like, and because that's obviously a local brewery to me. And I know you said it's kind of, there aren't as many because of the beer laws out in West Virginia. Are there some in the surrounding areas that that you like to go to when you have a chance?
For sure. My go-to is always, there's a place in Cumberland, Maryland. It's about 20 minutes from me. It's called Dig Deep Brewing.
Okay.
I actually pass it on the way home from work every day. So it's a blessing and a curse being able to drive right by there on the way home. But great people, great beer. It's just a little place, but I really respect everything that they've done. There's another brewery nearby. It's called 1812. It's like a farm-based brewery.
Okay.
Has a great outdoor area, so really nice in the spring, summer, and they have like a patio and music and all kinds of fun stuff. And that's on the Maryland side of things. West Virginia wise, we have a couple breweries that I like. We mentioned Big Timber earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I've only actually been there in person once. That's because it's about a 2-hour drive from where I'm at.
Oh,
so
wow.
I would love to make it there more, but whenever you're on limited time on a weekend, it's hard to get out there. So, it's kind of nice that they do distribute to the area. It makes it a little bit easier
to
get
good.
to. Yeah. So there's that. And then there's one called High Ground as well. It's a little place called Terra Alta, West Virginia, which is middle of nowhere. You literally blink and you go through it, but it's one of those places that's kind of, it's off the main road. You cross some railroad tracks, go back this little gravel road, and next thing you know, you come up on this warehouse with a little outdoor tap area. And
oh wow,
probably some of my favorite beer in the area. They're veteran owned and just a good cause, good group of people up there as well.
That's awesome. So cool. When you were doing your own, because I want to go back to the home run a little bit, because I still want to try to do some of that stuff myself. Mm-hmm. I'm super busy, but I do want to do it. What are some of your favorite hops that you've kind of, or are there some specifically and that you've liked to use recently, or is there some that maybe you want to use, you just haven't been able to get your hands on?
I think my favorites are your common ones. So your Citra, your Strata, your Mosaic.
Okay.
A lot of those stuff you find in those juicy IPA type styles. And that's the other part about, home brewing too, is I think you really get a feel for those kind of things as you're making them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I really want to start doing is what they call smash beers. So using a single malt, single hop, and it can really help you define what those tastes are. And because I think that's something I don't really know. You always see hops in different combinations of 2, 3, 4 at a time, and you get an idea, but you don't know specifically what hop gives off what taste and vice versa. So that's something I would really like to get into a little bit more so that I can define that and really key in on what each hop brings to the table and things like that. Like, for example, I would love to be able to get into, you have so many New Zealand style hops that are coming out right now. That's really big.
Oh yeah.
And it seems like it's really emerging especially as those Pilsner lager trains start to come back a little bit. You're starting to see more commercial breweries or craft breweries start to use those types of hops. So I think it would be fun to mess around with some of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the hoppy Pilsners that you're seeing nowadays too, especially out here, and I'll have to send you a care package with some of that stuff and a couple of hazies too. Have you ever had, or has anybody ever sent you anything from Green Cheek out here?
Green Cheek's avoided me. I've had a lot of stuff from out there, but Green Cheek I haven't had. Great Notion I haven't had. I know that's Oregon, I believe, but still another one that seems to be fairly readily available. But yeah, both of those have gotten away from me. So yeah, Green Cheek would be awesome to try one of their beers.
Awesome. So I'll get you one from Green Cheek. I'll get you one from Great Notion. And then have you had Pure Project before?
Oh, I haven't had Pure Project.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to load you up. So I'll send you a mix 4-pack of a bunch of their stuff with maybe a couple of West Coast and a couple of hazies. It's killer.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, I love trying that new stuff. I know California has a strong beer game. You guys got Green Cheek out there. I've had some Highland Park stuff, which is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, great stuff.
Monkish, is Monkish in
Oh
Cali?
yeah.
Yeah, I was honest. I've had some Monkish stuff, so that's good. So yeah, North Park has some good stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Thorn, the hat that I'm wearing right now.
Over here.
Oh yeah, Thor. I was gonna say sorry. The Thorn, the hat that I'm wearing. They're not far from they're in the North Park area, and they're it's so crazy. Their brewery, it's like an old converted house, but it's like you go in there. They have some really killer beer and a really cool time. It's not super tiny, but it's a cool little spot.
Yeah, I love those kind of places. And I think that's the fun part about breweries is you really get away from that. Most of the time, you get away from that bar type atmosphere. You get away from the bar rats and the ones who are just there to booze and do their thing. You really get the feeling of, almost like you hear it all the time, but it really is like a family type feeling. It's a family atmosphere. And it seems like the more that these things become popular, you walk in, you have families all over the place. You got kids running around, you got dogs running around, somewhere that's really open up to everyone. And it's nice to see that in that kind of setting.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think Morgan's made a couple of appearances on the show for me. So
yeah. So question for you is in terms of your location, I think you're probably in the opposite end of me. How many breweries are within, like a certain amount of radius from you? I figure it's a lot easier for you to get to some than it is for myself.
Oh yeah. There's just within about a 20-mile radius. You could literally throw I don't know. It'd be a huge number, but even within just a 5 or 6 miles of me, there's maybe 4 or 5.
I envy that so much.
I bet that's got to be hard. I mean, especially being a hophead, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, we still make the most of it. I still have plenty of stuff here that I've gotten over time. So my wife and I will split some beers in the evening and do that. And like I said, we got a couple local places that are 20, 25 minutes away. But sometimes it's really hard to justify going to some of these West Virginia breweries. While I would love to support the craft in West Virginia, why it's hard to justify driving an hour and a half to get to somewhere that has one brewery. Whereas I could drive 2 hours and be in Virginia, like half an hour outside of DC, and be in the same position as you, within a 20-mile radius, there's 10, 15 breweries and you have options and you can make a whole day out of it.
Oh, for sure. How long have you lived in West Virginia, or have you lived there your whole life?
Forever. Yeah. Born and raised, even going to grad school, I went to WVU. So never really left outside of, I'm in healthcare. So I went to Louisville for a little clinical rotation and Tennessee for a clinical rotation. But other than that, I've always been here.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm assuming you're a big Mountaineers fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you and I talked. I was telling you I always had a soft spot. It was like Steve Slayton and Pat. What's his name?
Pat White.
There you go. Couldn't remember his name. What are the tailgates like out there?
Oh man, they're wild. I can't say as much now, but my family used to we had season tickets out there for probably 15 years or so, back whenever I was in elementary school up through high school. And then into undergrad, I stayed home, and there's a sister branch of WVU that's here at home. So I was able to stay at home and do that. So whenever I got to grad school, they do student ticket programs and stuff like that. That's added into your tuition. So once I was out there for 3 years for that aspect, I sat in the student section, and my parents kept the season tickets about a year after I graduated. We got rid of them just because the price just gets outrageous.
Oh, I bet.
But, it's something that I was born into it. I was bred into it. I bleed it. It's annoying. It's heartbreaking. It's
oh yeah, I get it.
The joys of fandom. Absolutely. We always talk about if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to West Virginia, and it's tried and true. Especially the last few years, things haven't been great, but hopefully we're on the up and up. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, even like going back to that year, so you said with Pat White and Steve Slayton. I remember, was it Rich Rod was the coach, and like I remember they were in like the top five, and like looking like they're gonna make like the BCS. I know that was like a heartbreaking loss in there. I can't remember who it was against, but I mean that team was just like, I love that team.
That was against Pitt. I was at that game. That was terrible.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to rehash old wounds.
Heartbreaking. No, it's okay. I hear it all the time. So especially being so close to PA, you get those people that, you prodded at each other back and forth. But yeah, that was kind of, I was definitely into West Virginia sports, football in particular before that, but that whole era really kind of set the standard in terms of what to expect. And I think that was a big shift in college football too. That's when that spread option type offense really came around, and a lot of people started to adapt that. And you still see it now, maybe not in the sense that it was 15, 20 years ago, but it still exists. And I think it's always going to have a little bit of a place in football, and history repeats itself. So we might see a reversion back to that at some point, but going from the success of those days, and kind of had a few down years once the new coach came in, but last year went okay. So we'll see what things bring this year. Things look promising. So we'll see.
That's awesome. I mean, I feel like college football, there's, especially being an SC fan, like there's always those ebbs and flows. Like one year, like you look great. And then the next year you go like, lose like 7, 8, 9 games. So it's like, but it happens to everybody.
It does. And it like, especially SC, you guys, I think SC fans have high expectations because they rode that Pete Carroll train for so long, and they were dominant. I mean, they were the face of college football for years. And I think, you had a 1 or 2 loss season that was considered an absolute disappointment because you got so used to just dominating every time you went out there. And that's kind of what we had here, just in a different conference on the East Coast. But, Pat White, Steve Slayton, you just always knew they were going to bail you out. And whenever you lost, you didn't know what to do about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was the same way for years. I mean, I still care about my teams and all of my teams, but I mean, I used to let it ruin my day. And now I'm like, I can't be doing that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. My whole weekend, it would absolutely ruin it, especially on days that football team, basketball team would play in the same day. If they lost at the same time, just leave me alone. Don't talk to me.
Yeah. It happens, man. I mean, that's just the love for it. I mean, I understand it. I respect it. I'm like, all right, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. I've gotten my emotions in check a little bit more. And I think it helps that we had that string of down years. So I think it kind of tempers your expectations a little bit. So that certainly helps. But, part of you always has that competitive drive and that desire to always just want to see your guys succeed. So it's always fun. And it's the same with, I'm a big basketball fan too. So I don't know if you follow college basketball, as much, but, West Virginia wise, it was rough last year. Huggy couldn't stay off the juice, and he kind of got the boot, and we really suffered because of that. So we'll see how we're able to turn things around. But this whole, going back to like we talked about with that beer and the NIL, that's changed the whole landscape. So you can go from bottom to, top tier within a year or two, and you just never know how it's going to play out.
Oh, for sure. Maybe I watched little bits and pieces of college basketball. Obviously, I always watch the tournament. Like the tournament's always like, it's so great. But the one thing, like when it comes to SC basketball, it's like they had all these expectations last year and they just shit the bed. So it didn't even really matter. But I mean, they still, did okay.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. I mean, it's unpredictable, especially basketball. Basketball, anything can happen on any given day. Football's a little more predictable on that front, but basketball, it's either you bring your best or you just get the wrong matchup. You see it in the tournament all the time. You see those 12-5, 13-4 matchups that a certain offense just matches up against the wrong defense, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, I mean, it is a game of matchups, like and I feel football is too. Sometimes like you're better suited to play a specific team than you are somebody else.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's part of the fun is the competition aspect of it. But football and basketball in terms of college are my wheelhouse. I follow the NFL. Yeah, I do fantasy football and all that stuff, but obviously being from West Virginia, we don't really have a team to tune into. So a lot of people in the area kind of, they'll go split between Baltimore, Washington, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Probably the area I'm at is more Pittsburgh fans. But, my family was big followers of Joe Montana. So I kind of jumped on the 49ers train, even though he was gone by the time I really understood much about the NFL. So it was kind of like Steve Young branching in a little bit, but that's kind of where I started to follow that. And, I watch them when they're on, but it's also not something that, if I can't watch them or if they lose, it's not the end of my day.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we all have those kind of teams that we cheer for, but then it's not like, like I'm a huge Bulls fan, but they suck. They're just terrible. So, I mean, I can't let them ruin my day, or I'd be pissed off every day of the year, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. I have a friend that's a Bulls fan, and he's kind of the same way, but the NBA is one thing I just never really got into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another thing, is it just, there's not a lot of regional ties. I mean, you got the Wizards, I guess is probably the closest to where I'm at, but I mean, it's not really anything relevant or anything that I've ever been interested in.
Yeah.
It seems like the NBA is, I don't know, in my mind, it's just money driven, fame driven.
Of course.
And a lot of people like it. And I'm the same way as you. Like you said, college basketball, you watch when the tournament comes around. I watch during the playoffs. I think it's fun to watch and all that stuff and follow it, but it's definitely not something that I sit down every night and I'm like, okay, I got to find a game on.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to talk a little bit, just one more thing about the Mountaineers. Like, so when you would be going to games, and all that sort of stuff, like when you're tailgating, any fun tailgating stories or anything like that?
Tailgating, not a whole lot of fun stories. Most of the stories happen afterward.
Okay. Yeah, something like that. That's good.
Yeah. A lot of times you end up in those situations where you have a good time before, and it kind of trickles over inside the stadium, and sometimes some things will go south a little bit, and you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble, and then next thing you know, you're downtown and bar hopping, and
yeah,
next thing you know, you might be cleaning up blue puke in front of a little community room or something like that. But we won't talk too much about that.
Happens to the best of us, right? Oh man.
There's a bar out there called Fourth and Goal, and they made what they call Mountaineer Long Island. So it's essentially just a Long Island iced tea, but they make it with, I don't even know how to say it, blue curacao.
Oh, okay.
So it gives it that blue tinge to it. So they call it a Mountaineer Long Island. And I had a friend one night that just had a couple too many, and we were trying to get him home, and we didn't make it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That sounds rough.
Wearing all yellow from the game, and next thing you know, his shirt's half blue, half green because the colors mixed. And
oh no.
Yeah. It ends up, it got a little messy, but for the most part, we were good at keeping things in check. Had I been out there when I was a little bit younger, I could probably tell you some better stories, but by the time I got out there, I think, I was a little more matured than I was whenever I was an undergrad. So not too many wild stories.
No, it's all good. And I'm always curious too, because I love tailgating. It's like one of my favorite, I think one of my favorite parts of like college football. But like, is there anything like specific, like, because I feel like kind of like out here in California, it could be tacos, it could be burgers, it could be hot dogs. Is there anything like specific food wise for West Virginia?
West Virginia's big on pepperoni rolls, so that's our big food.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's a simple concept. A lot of people don't hear of it until they come to the state, but it's literally bread, pepperoni, and cheese, and that's all.
Sign me up.
Is just a roll, and mix them up, bake them. Chef's kiss. Such a simple tailgate food. You can mix it up however you want to. Mix up your cheeses, mix up your different types of meat that you use inside, and it's it's kind of a decadence.
I love that, and like I'm just wondering, like, man, like we're like thinking that because you don't really think of like that kind of thing as a tailgate food, but it sounds like like if like a roll, something you can be on the go with. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's simple. You can, if you need to spice it up a little bit, you can add some sauces, some dips, throw something on there. One day we were making burgers at a tailgate, and we completely forgot the burgers at home, but we had a whole pack of pepperoni rolls. So
there
we
you
used
go.
the pepperoni rolls as buns instead. So
nice.
Cut the rolls in half, throw a couple smash burgers in between, smack them together. Oh man.
Dang, that sounds pretty dang good. So do they sell like made pepperoni rolls?
Do. Yeah. There's a couple companies that do them like prepackaged, and you can usually find them like the stadium out there will sell them, and a couple gas stations, convenience stores, things like that. But definitely the best way to do it is to make them on your own. Super simple process too. So not very time consuming, not expensive, and easy to do.
That sounds like the dream.
Don't fix what's not broken, right?
Exactly. And you're a big baseball fan?
I am. Yeah, baseball is probably my favorite sport. It's the one I played up through beginning of high school, but it's definitely the one that professional wise I follow the most. So I'm a big Orioles fan.
Okay.
Have been for years, and I don't know. I must be a glutton for punishment because I love these teams that just struggle the hell out of the world.
Oh yeah.
It seems like we're on the up and up now. We got a farm system, and we got all these young guys coming up, and it seems like things are promising. So we'll see how things turn out. But, I followed them ever since the Cal Ripken days. And even though there wasn't a whole lot of success back then, but it's still fun to watch. I like the strategy behind it and all that stuff. So it's tough being in the AL East though.
Oh, definitely. But the Yankees, the Sox, the Rays and the Blue Jays and all that sort of stuff, that's tough. But I'm going to say I feel like Baltimore right now, they're built for the long run.
They are. And that's, we got a new GM 2 or 3 years ago, and I think he was like the co-GM in Houston when they were making their run a few years ago. So they brought him in. They brought in Brandon Hyde, who was the bench coach for the Cubs whenever Joe Madden was kind of transforming them there. So I think the combination of those two have really ramped things up, and we just got new ownership this past year, so they're finally willing to spend money a little bit. They used to always be a feeder team, essentially. They would keep one of their stars until that contract was up and they didn't want to pay to keep them. They would trade them away and reload. And in a way, that's an okay method, but if you want long-term success, you got to keep some of those guys around. So I'm hoping that that'll change once these guys get a little bit older and that time comes. But right now it's fun to watch. You're bringing in all these young guys, a lot of potential. And if you can keep them together, we could make a nice little 10-year run here and turn things around.
Oh, for sure. I think and I feel like they definitely have at least the 10 years. Like they have so much young talent on that team, and they just renovated the stadium too as well, Camden Yards.
Yeah, they got plans on doing all that, and I think they just signed a new lease. Things were kind of up in the air there for a little bit. So there's been a lot of rumors of the MLB trying to expand to Nashville. And for a while, a lot of people thought that was going to be Baltimore because their lease was up on the stadium. So they ended up getting like a 1 or 2 year extension under the old ownership. And then when they transferred over, I think they signed a 20-year extension. So hopefully they're here to stay.
That's awesome. And how far away is that from you? Do you get to go to a lot of games?
Honestly, I go to more Pirates games than I do Orioles games.
Okay.
But really driving wise, Pittsburgh for me is probably about 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours. It's not terrible. Baltimore is probably about the same way, but I enjoy the Pittsburgh area more. So usually when we go up there, we plan a whole weekend and find a lot more to do up there than we do in Baltimore. Not to say there's nothing to do down there, but in terms of our preference, we like the Pittsburgh area a little bit more.
That's cool. I like the Pirates those new City Connect jerseys that they have. Those are pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love all these City Connect jerseys. Some of them are kind of trashy, but for the most part, I like the mix up. Baseball, you don't really see a whole lot of that uniform stuff going on. So it's kind of nice to see that, like the NFL had the whole color rush initiative, and then they finally got I think they passed that rule to where they can finally have throwback helmets and stuff now. So
yeah,
you're starting to see that a little bit more. But baseball, you didn't see that quite as much. You had the throwback uniforms every once in a while, but it's nice to see an updated modern version of some of that stuff.
Oh, for sure. Even being a Braves fan and going back to as a kid, it was always either the gray jerseys or the white jerseys, and that was it. And now they have like 5 different jerseys.
Yeah, for sure. Have you always been a Braves fan?
Yeah, so how it all started was like I was a kid and I went to an Angel game, and it was just because I don't know, I think my dad just got tickets and they were playing the Braves, and I just so happened to see Chipper Jones and he hit a home run, and I was like, I'm hooked. Was it an Angel game or a Dodger game? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was Yeah, he hit a home run. I was like, that's my team. Oh, that's my guy, and that's my team. And I'm stuck with him ever since.
I love it. I remember growing up, I had 2 posters in my room that were baseball. One was Chipper Jones, one was Barry Bonds. I was always an Orioles fan.
Love
I just
it.
never had an Orioles thing on my wall.
Yeah. Oh man, Barry was like, I mean, and even him not being in the hall, like the whole record thing, like, man, the guy just crushed baseballs, just crushed them.
Yeah, and I get it, this whole steroid thing and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
you got to have some sort of talent to be able to even do it. So, I think recognition needs to be given there, but that's going to be a lifelong battle. None of that's ever going to change. Everyone's going to have their thoughts on that. And the same with the whole Pete Rose thing, does he belong?
Yep.
Does he not? All that good stuff, but it is what it is.
Oh yeah. And I always felt like with Pete Rose, I mean, it's not like he bet on baseball. So, I mean, that we know of, but I mean, the guy was still one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Right. It doesn't take away from what he did for the game, what he contributed to the game. So I think from that aspect, just let the damn guy in.
Exactly.
I hate seeing all this stuff where 80, 90 years after someone dies, they're like, oh, well, okay, we'll posthumously do this. And I don't know. I just think that's a shitty way of going about it.
Oh, it is. I mean, especially like give the guy his due, like, give the guy his, his day in the sun. I mean, he did it for, did everything he could, for as long as he could. And then, then obviously gets caught doing the gambling stuff, but that doesn't change what he did on the field.
Right. It has nothing to do with the actual baseball implications of it, but it's that old school point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I think baseball more than anyone has held true to that. So in a way,
true.
I respect them for not changing their ways too much, but in a way you kind of have to adapt with the times, but see what happens in 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. But like you said, I just hope he's not, hope he's still with us if it does happen.
I mean, I think if anyone deserves it at this point, it's him, but you're always going to have your naysayers. You're always going to have the ones fighting for it. And, will they meet in the middle? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. Knowing baseball, probably not. Should we crack the next one? You got one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, this is the one you sent me from Black
round?
Flag. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So I have Black Flag Brewing Company, California Love. It's a West Coast IPA brewed with Simcoe, Centennial, Amarillo, with Warrior and Columbus hop oils. Ooh, I like that. Here we go. And this one's coming in at 7%. What are you having?
Yeah, I hope you enjoy that one. I really like that one. That's a good beer.
And what are you having?
Let's see. And then I got Retro Games. It is another double IPA from Commonwealth. They're out of Virginia Beach. I figured you might appreciate that can. Has all the old school.
Oh yeah.
Little video game logo on it.
Yeah, it looks like Space Invaders.
Yep, you got it. This one's made with Nelson, Matuika, and Galaxy. And this one comes in at 8.3%.
Man, I love the color on this one.
I hope you enjoy that. I really enjoy that beer. Black Flag's out of, I believe, the Baltimore area. It might be a different little city, but it's definitely a suburb.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. It looks like it says, Columbia, Maryland, but it's almost like Baltimore Oriole colors.
Yeah. Columbia's right outside of Baltimore. But yeah, whenever I saw someone finally made a West Coast IPA on this side, I had to have it. And whenever I saw it, I kept you in mind whenever I sent some stuff over to you.
Appreciate it, man. Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers.
That's some good stuff. I did want to ask you, because before we do not finish up, we have some time, but one thing I would love to ask, like, especially like in Instagram Spotlight episodes, is like, because I'm a huge burger fan, and I'm sure you know that already, but I'm curious about if there's like a best burger in West Virginia for you.
Oh, I think best burgers in Morgantown. So out where WVU's at, there's a place called Morgantown Brewing Company out there. And the beer's good, but they do every day. They do a different, or not every day, every week they do a different burger spotlight and a different wing spotlight.
So awesome.
Each week they'll do a different burger special, and then each week they'll do a different wing sauce, or they'll make something up that's something a little different. So in terms of burgers, that's probably my favorite place to go. Another good food place out in Morgantown is a place called Black Bear Burritos. I know you're a big taco guy as well.
Oh yeah.
So they got good tacos, but it's also, they classify it as like a organic farm to table type place. So everything is locally grown, locally fed, all that good stuff. So they have really good tacos, and then they have build your own quesadillas and burritos. So you can kind of, you
Dang.
pick your protein, you pick all your toppings, your veggies, all that stuff, and they'll throw it together for you. And then they have a solid tap list of usually a decent amount of West Virginia beers on tap. So one of my favorite places to go while I'm out there.
Oh, that sounds so good. Are there any other spots in your area, like beer wise, or like maybe beer bars or other like sites and stuff like that? Like you would, like if you were to tell someone to go see, where would you tell them to go?
Our favorite place to go, it's a little place called North Branch Brewing Company. It's in Kaiser,
Okay.
West Virginia, which is my hometown. It's about 15 minutes from where we live now. It's labeled as a brewing company. The name's kind of misleading. They're essentially like a little microbrewery. They just added on their taps, so I think they have 14 taps now, but usually only one of their taps has one of their actual beers.
Wow.
Other than that, they just get stuff through distributors, and they're kind of the same way as some of the places I just told you, a decent amount of West Virginia style beers, but they bring in some of the big names and stuff like that. So it's a good place to go to try some local things. And I always like going out and supporting the local places. It's a little husband-wife owned shop. Some people I went to high school with.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
One side of the building is a bar pub. So you can get some little, personal pizzas, salads, sandwiches, those kinds of things. And then
Okay.
the other side is a coffee shop. So they do coffees, energy drink mixes, breakfast sandwiches, lunch. So the place is open all day. It's usually the coffee shop in the morning, pub in the evening, but really good group of people, and they got a nice little operation going there.
That's awesome. In your, not just in your area, because I know sometimes you drive further to go hang out at other breweries. If you could only go to one, where would you go?
Oh man, it's tough.
That's a loaded question.
I'm going to break it up a little bit. So I got two answers for this.
Okay.
So, West Virginia excluded, say if I go into the Maryland side of things, we're about 2 hours from Frederick, Maryland, which is about where it's called Idiom Brewing Company is at.
Okay.
They make some fantastic stuff, huge tap list. They make great sours, great stouts, great IPAs, great lagers. Just a really cool place to hang out at. That's definitely my favorite place in the Maryland area, at least right now. There's a lot I haven't seen either. So, jury's still out there, but
okay.
And then in Virginia has a lot of stuff. There's a place called Herndon, Virginia, where Aslan Brewing Company is at, or at least a branch of it. That's probably my favorite place to go. Same thing, a good variety, a cool spot. And they also have a nice little attachment to where they have a coffee bar, pizza shop set up. So you can
nice.
Go on one side, get your beer. You can go over, order some pizza, sandwich, coffee for anyone who doesn't drink or anyone who needs a little pick me up before you hit the road again, and then head back over and hang out in the tap room. So those are two of my favorite places. We venture on the Virginia side of things more often.
Okay.
I enjoy golf. So a lot of times my friends and I will make trips down to the Ashburn, DC area because there's a Top Golf down there. So
okay. That's cool.
A lot of times we'll go there. Yeah, we'll go there in the mornings for 2 or 3 hours, and then the plan will be just to kind of brewery hop for the rest of the afternoon.
There you go.
Each time we go down there, we'll try to hit 2, 3, 4 different spots and try some new stuff. So we're actually heading there tomorrow. That's why I couldn't record with you tomorrow evening because we're heading down there. But yeah, so it's fun to go down that way and try all the different stuff. But definitely Aslan and Idiom are good stuff in this area to try. Baltimore has Heavy Seas. Heavy Seas is a fairly big name. I don't know if they distribute out west or not.
I have not seen their stuff, but I'm intrigued by the name.
Yeah, they have some really good beer. Really known for their IPAs. They have a couple good IPAs that really hit the spot. A regular IPA, double IPA. They do a tropical version, but they also just released a variety pack for the summer that has a lager, a sour, a pilsner, and I believe I want to say it's a fruited IPA, maybe a mango.
Okay.
So they got some good stuff too as well, but physically I haven't been there.
All right. No, that's awesome. I wanted to ask you about because you mentioned it was called Aslan. By chance, their logo isn't like a lion or anything, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay. The only reason I was asking is because the first thing I thought of was Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah.
That would have been genius, but no, they're I'm not really sure how to explain their logo. It's kind of strange. I guess it's kind of like like an A shape, but it's not all conjoined. So you have like a long cylindrical side on the left and then two dots on the right.
Okay.
I've never really understood it, but it's kind of neat when you go into their tap room because they do a lot of like retro 80s style look. So you walk in, you have like those bright blues, those bright pinks, bright yellows, those kinds of things that really give you like that throwback vibe.
Okay.
And really makes it pop and makes it welcoming. So it's a cool little scene to see, but no lions.
Oh man, I thought for sure. I was like, oh, it's got to be something. Someone's got to be a Narnia fan.
What about you? What are your favorite breweries out in your area?
Oh man, that's so hard. I would probably say
it's
like
probably harder for you than it is for me. That's why I wanted to ask.
Oh yeah, it's tough. In the Orange County area, I would probably say like I love Noble. I love all the boys at Noble. Unsung is fantastic. Great people there. Villains, they're really nice people in the OC area. Rad, Radiant. There's probably I can ramble off. Probably still Brewery X, the one my brother works for. Sarges. There's probably so many I could have rambled off, but I can give you San Diego too if you want San Diego.
Yeah, go for it.
Like you mentioned, North Park, Pure Project, Thorn, the hat I'm wearing, Goal, Seek. Even though I did puke at Goal, it was not because of your beer, I promise. It was because I was a little inebriated. So
hey, I get it. We all hit those spots.
Oh yeah, it happens to the best of us. But yeah, those are probably like those are, and I'm probably missing a ton. There's so many. Oh, you know what? In LA County, there's Ism, Pfeiffer in Orange County. There's so many, and then like also La Bodega Brewing with my buddy Abraham, Brujeria, Whittier Brewing Company. Honestly, there's so many.
Oh, I'm sure. I think La Bodega, you did a episode with them, right?
Oh yeah, with Abraham. He's a super nice guy. Really great food too. Yeah.
I love that stuff. Yeah, it's always fun getting different perspectives and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. And you know what, man? And I want to say thank you to you because I mean I know there's been quite a few times where like people have asked like, oh, what kind of podcast, like, what podcast do you listen to, and you've said the Tap Room. So I appreciate you getting the word out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love advertising that stuff, and like I said, anytime your episodes come through on Sundays, I try to listen to them during the weekends the best I can, but at the very least I listen to them on the way to and from work. Like I just listened to your Comics and Brews episode on the way home today. So that was fun to listen to. But no, I love what you're doing, and I would love to pick your brain sometime about podcasts because I would love to do some kind of the same thing on, the East Coast side of things. But I'm just fascinated with the brewing community, the same kinds of things that you do. Where do people get start? What are their struggles? What are their successes?
Yeah.
What makes them tick? Because it's really interesting to see how different, each place is. 'Cause there's not one brewery that is the same.
Mm-hmm.
You might have similarities in beer. You might have similarities in styles and stuff like that. But everywhere you go has their own thing. And I think that's, one of the fun things about craft beer and breweries in general is that everywhere you go, you're going to get a different experience. You're going to meet great people. And, the least that we can do is to help that out, whether that be through just sharing stupid pictures of beers that we drink or doing interviews with brewers or, whatever else, it might on the small scale of things, it might not seem like much, but in the end might be making a difference somewhere. And, we're doing the best that we can.
100%, man. I couldn't have said it any better. I love being able to support small business and be able to maybe let other people hear the stories that you might not normally hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got a couple of those big breweries out there that have made it big, Sam Adams and those kind of likes, but even Sam Adams is getting ready to sell. I don't know if you saw any of that, but there's a Japanese company trying to buy them out. So yeah, I don't know. It's good to support what you have, and the craft beer movement is still heavy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how, because it feels like any second now it should be tapping out, but it keeps growing, and
yeah,
I'm here for it. I'm completely here for it. I hope it continues that way. I would eventually love to break into the brewing industry, and there's a little college here that just got a brewer's certification program, and I would love to take that and maybe, after the healthcare journey's over, maybe venture over into that and give me something to do during the day. But we'll see where it goes. But so far, it's held its own, and I hope it stays that way.
Oh, for sure, man. And that'd be awesome if you do that, man. Just tell me whenever you start your own place or whenever you get a job as a brewer somewhere else, I'll be there, man. I've never been to West Virginia, so I'd love to go to Morgantown, and man, I'd love to be able to have a beer with you.
Absolutely. Come on over. I'll send you a little care package, get you a little visit and show you around the area, the big old cities of West Virginia. Cities.
There you go. Yeah. No, I'm so up for that, man. And before we do finish up, because honestly, this has been super fun, and I'm glad that we got to do this. Do you have any funny, like, kind of hangover stories to kind of finish?
Not necessarily hangover stories. So there was one time in college, I'd finished my anatomy lab for grad school, and there's a little lake that was probably, I don't know, half an hour or so from home that we went up and we rented for the weekend. And when I was in college, I was big on Jaeger bombs. That was my biggest thing, Jaeger bombs.
Been there.
Jaeger bomb.
Yeah.
And we bought all the stuff for Jaeger bombs. So we had a big ass pack of Red Bull, huge bottle of Jaeger. And we get to this house and there's no shot glasses anywhere.
Uh-oh.
So instead of making shots, we make 22 ounce, like Sam Adams style glasses.
Oh, shit.
Of Jaeger bombs. Yeah. So,
all right.
We're one or two into those. And of course, at that point, you lose all sense, especially when you're drinking quick. So you're feeling good and they keep going.
Yeah.
So we're drinking and there's a hot tub out on the back patio. And we get into the hot tub. And of course, that hot humidity mixed with the alcohol is not a great combination.
Oh, not at all.
So that was the night that I didn't fall into a hot tub. I fell out of the hot tub.
How did that happen?
I sat on the edge, tumbled backwards. I took the cover off with me, broke a couple glasses on the way down, scratched the hell out of my back. I had all kinds of scars and stuff on my back the next morning. Didn't remember any of it. Whenever I went to go change out of my swim trunks, I apparently stripped in front of my buddy's girlfriend. Didn't remember any of that. I found that out at about 10 a.m. the next morning, and I haven't lived it down since. That's probably been, 12, 13 years or so, and I still hear about that sometimes. But yeah, that's part drunk, part hangover story, the drunkenness from the night before and the hangover story of figuring out what the hell I did the next morning. So.
Oh, it happens to the best of us. But when you mentioned the lake, I was like, uh-oh, like this could go bad. But
yeah. Luckily we kept it contained, but needless to say, I didn't drink the rest of the weekend. I had my fill that night. So I at least enjoyed part of the weekend, but part of it also I apparently enjoyed, but I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
Oh yeah. Though, Joe, you know what? Since you mentioned a lake story, do you want to hear a river story?
Do it. I love river stories. We float the river all the time.
There we go. Okay, so my cousin Justin, love him to death. We were in high school. We were at family member's house that had a house on the river. So we're hanging out, doing our thing. We're drinking, doing all that sort of stuff, doing Jaeger bombs, doing we had Rockstar and vodka. So back then, doing this other stuff called my uncle that I shouldn't say his name, but he had made these drinks called Magic's Mojo. So we were drinking that. My cousin got really shit faced, and he had been talking about all day, saying, "I'm gonna jump in the river," and I was like, "Come on, man, don't do it. You're hammered, whatever." But we were all hanging out or whatever. So I go in the house to go lay down, and we come out the next morning, and all of his clothes are laid out on the bar area, the seats next to the bar, and then by the jacuzzi. And I'm like, oh no, what happened? And so we look everywhere to try to find this guy. We're like, where the fuck is he? Where the fuck's Dusty? Well, we call him Dusty. His name's Justin, but we call him Dusty. I was like, where the fuck is he? What's going on? So we search high and dry everywhere. We look in the front, the front yard, the backyard, this whole thing by the river and all that sort of stuff. Because the house was literally on the river. And couldn't find him. Not even, we're like, oh no, he kept saying all of his clothes are here. He must have jumped in. and, thinking worst case scenario. And before, because we're still looking, and before we even have a chance to do anything, my cousin calls his mom and says, "Hey, we think Justin's dead." And yeah, it was oh my, are you like? And I was like, "Why did you do that?" So I grabbed the phone, I hang it up, and then we keep looking around, and then we just so happen to be in the front, in the front of the house, and we happen to see that the back window on my cousin's old Nissan Frontier was cracked. Well, not cracked, but there was a crack open. So we were able to open it, and he crawled through the little ass window in the back of the truck, and slept on the driver's side, in the truck.
Oh, that's great. I mean, in all fairness, he had the scene set up perfectly for you to think that he was elsewhere.
Yeah. And that was the first, I was like, oh no, Justin's dead. And then, then my cousin called his mom and then it hangs up on her. So she's calling back again. And it's like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. That's a little bit of a rash decision, but yeah, I mean, those are the types of stories you just can't make up.
Oh yeah. That's, so good. I don't think I've ever told that story on the show. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't remember that one. That was a good one. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I have to do Tales from Mike's Past or something as a segment or something like that.
There you go. Do like a little anniversary episode or something.
There you go. Well, honestly, Nick, man, this has been this has been super fun. I appreciate you, man. We can stick around and chat after for a little bit, but I just want to say thank you, man, for taking time out of your day to be, able to do this with me. Is there anything else you want to plug or anything like that?
I appreciate your time. Like I said, we've talked about this for a while, so it was fun to finally be able to do it. And hopefully, your people enjoy it, but sometimes it's nice just getting to know the face behind the account. So it's good to talk to you, and it's good to, speak out loud and get my story out there, because a lot of people don't really know that it's there. But just a little plug. My wife recently started a little Beerstagram as well. She's at Brew Dude, West Virginia. So if you want to give her a little bit of follow, and
for sure,
we're sharing some of the same stuff, but she's trying to find her little journey there too, and get a little bit of a different perspective than what I have. So you want to give her a little shout out, it'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I always appreciate it, especially when a husband and wife do it together like that, something like that, because sometimes there's, have girlfriends or wives that aren't into craft beer, and it makes it a little harder, but it's cool that you guys have that together.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something that we talked about a little bit. She finally did it. And I think it's good to have two separate accounts. I know there's a few out there that do it together, and that's awesome. I love seeing those journeys, but her and I have different beer languages, so to speak. She likes different things than I do, and has different perspectives. So, while it might be some of the same content, there's a different viewpoint. So I definitely think there's a place for that. And, I'm glad she decided to do it and give it a shot.
Love it. Well, man, thank you again. Like I said, we'll stick around and chat, but make sure you follow Nick at Brew Dude WV on Instagram. And like I said, thank you again, man. This has been fun.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you, man. Everything you're doing is great, and I love following along.
All right. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, man.
Welcome to the Taproom Podcast. This is 2024 Independent Beer Festival hosted by LA Brewers Guild. Welcome. Yo, what's up, homies? It's Chew Your Beer at LA Brewers Independent Beer Festival in Long Beach. I'm here to review Unity, brewed by Boomtown and all of LA Brewers, homies. So this beer is hold on. It's a hoppy Pilsner, crisp, dank, citrusy, little fruitiness, bright. It's amazing. Go get a 4-pack. Go to Boomtown. Tell them Chew Your Beer sent you. Use promo code CHEW, and you'll get $0 off your purchase. But they'll say, who the fuck was that? All right, homies, it's Chew Your Beer, and I'll be back.
All right, what up, y'all? Chew Jr. I'm out here at the LA Brew Fest. We're out here drinking Peebo from Creature Comforts, and we're lit. Let's get it.
All right, everyone. It's LA Brew Life here. It's Art hanging out with Jonathan and OG Chew Your Beer and the family. I'm having Trustworthy, the rye IPA. It's really good. I've been there a few times, and, just hanging out with everyone, meeting a lot of people. Again, two legends here, OG and Jonathan, so very good stuff.
We're here at Project Barley's. We got the chef's favorite, right? Pre-day before Father's Day, he made it with extra love. We're about to taste and sip. Spin around real quick. What's coming to mind right now is Modelo Negra. If you had to describe it, this is the final boss of Modelo Negra. And this is what you're going to get. You're not going to feel the creep coming up to you. Well, you are going to welcome it. Because you're going to keep drinking. Salud.
Hello, my name is Rappy Girl 93X. I'm drinking Project Barley. We are here at the Los Angeles Independent Beer Fest. I'm drinking Neverland, DDH West Coast IPA, 6.6. Tastes really good.
LA Craft Girl Beer.
And we're back, motherfuckers. All right, we're at the LA Beer. Fucking jeez, I'm gonna leave it in. I don't give a fuck. LA Independent Beer Festival, and I'm here with Chew, Art, and Ant. Oh, there we Ant. There we go. There it is, Charles, motherfucker. All right, so my favorite. You know what? I'm gonna let Art and Chew go first.
I'll go first.
And let's see what you got.
Also, I had the Lucky Luke's. I always have Lucky Luke's at in Burbank, and I think at the Yard House. And they were here. They had a good Pilsner, very cold Pilsner, very crisp. I'm a big fan of Lucky Luke, so I had that. It was very good. Chew.
Yo, homies, it's fucking Chew Your Beer. I'm here. I'm drunk as fuck. Literally, I've had a lot of beers. I'm feeling really good. My favorite beer today is Unity by Boomtown. There was a collaboration with all of the LA Brewers Guild. That thing was a hoppy Pilsner. It hit amazing. It was the first beer I had. It didn't make my mind up then, but it was the fifth time I had it. Amazing fucking beer, homies. And I'm hanging out with Mikey, Taproom Podcast, Art, LA Brewer, LA Beer Live, homies. Remind that shit. I'm fucking LA Brew Live. I'm drunk. The Elks are taking over, and I got my boy Ants, a community member that I've known for a long time. He's been at Pozole Palooza, and these motherfuckers will be there. They will get a VIP pass. I'm gonna pass this mic because I am drunk and I'm feeling good.
Chew said he likes something about Boomtown. I thought he said he was going to like getting taken to Pound Town. I wasn't really sure what was going on.
That's what you like, homie.
Who doesn't?
But
yeah,
guess what? If you're my celly, I'm gonna hook you up.
There it is. Love it.
So this is Ants. We're kicking off LA Beer Week here in the beautiful Long Beach by the shore. Having some amazing beers, amazing breweries. But I would say my favorite would be the collaboration with Monkish and Highland Park. It's called Burger Sheriff, and it was a hazy. I didn't get to try. I didn't get to try the hoppy pills because the line was too long to get back in line. But it's a great time here with some wonderful people here, and I'll pass it off to.
And we're back. My favorite beer, I don't know. There's a lot of Detroitism. It was great. The West Coast Blonde was great too. Trying to think of what else. There was Rainbow Road. I am so sorry because I can't remember. It wasn't Arts District, was it? It is Arts District, right? Arts District, the Rainbow Road, phenomenal. Got to see Christian. Got to run into a bunch of great people today. A lot of people I've had on the show. So super exciting, super fun. Get to hang out with Art, Chew. Been a really great day.
Homies, it's Chew again. For the listeners out there, if you don't visit beer festivals, you should. The only reason being is because you have an array of fabulous beer, amazing people. You get to meet Mikey. You meet Art.
Yeah. Do you even like that beer if you don't go to festival?
If you go to a festival, man, you pay $60, all you can drink.
Yeah.
You get to meet me, too.
Yeah.
You get a sticker. You get to wow out with me in front of the band. I've been here like for 2 hours just dancing my ass off. That's how I burn calories, y'all. That's how I get fit.
That's how I get ready for Pozole Palooza.
There you go. So if you're a craft beer drinker, you're a listener of the Taproom Podcast, I highly, highly recommend of Beer Festival. Next one that I truly put my stamp on is LA Brew at the Zoo. And I'm out, homies.
I'm going to brew in your zoo.
All right. Well, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like I said, Nick was such a good dude. And I can't wait to to talk to him again. We shoot the breeze. They DM each other, say how we're talk about beers and stuff like that. Clearly, I don't know why I can't talk right now. I talked fine in the intro, but yeah. Let's see. What else do I got? So next week is the Beer Belly. Week after that will be Hannah. Then the episode 75, and so we'll be having some people sending in their what do you want to call it? The bonus beer reviews. So that should be good. I'm looking forward to all that. Looking forward to the 4th. I'm looking forward to have a good time, and got to throw on that American flag romper kind of thing that Chew hates. Got to do it for the 4th. Got to do it for the fam. Got to do it for the Tap fam. All right, guys. Well, hope you guys have a great 4th of July. Drink it up. Just be safe. Don't blow your hands off or anything like that. And and yeah, I wish I had the rights. I mean, I don't really care for Hogan as a wrestler. That might piss some people off, so apologies. But I wish I had the rights to his song to sign off this episode with that. But with that being said, if you're betting on any sports, you're betting on any baseball, take the over, motherfuckers. Cheers, Tap fam.